All right, coming to you live from deep in the heart of Texas, it's the Realest Guys podcast.
Yes, that's right, boys and girls of the hashtag WWE Universe. With a new era comes new voices. Welcome to the Realest Guys podcast. I am your host, the Rican Wolverine, Mario V. And let me be upfront with you. I'm not necessarily a good host. I'm not necessarily a bad host. But I'm the host. And with me is my tag team partner, the Michaels to my Janetti, the Billy to my Chuck, and this is, I guarantee, I promise you guys, this will be his favorite comparison, the Enzo to my Cash.
There we go.
Josh, too good, Crocker.
Too good.
What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Chilling. Obviously, we know why we're here. Raw last night. Well, first of all, let's kind of do a little, I don't know, introduction here. We've been talking about doing this podcast for a few weeks, couple months, more or less. And it just seemed just perfect timing that right before we go into the brand split, we're actually able to free up some time in our schedule and start talking and sitting down and talking about what we're passionate about. And that, boys and girls, is WWE wrestling and wrestling in general. So for this first episode, we're just going to kind of break down Raw a little bit. What we like, what we didn't like, what we foresee kind of happening. Maybe give a little analysis for the brand split. Stuff like that. So go ahead, Josh. You can kick it off. Tell me what you liked from Raw last night.
Well, excuse me. Honestly, I didn't really like that much from Raw last night. It wasn't their best show, right? There were some highlight spots. Enzo and Cass, they're always, they haven't done anything I really haven't liked yet.
Obvious biases aside.
Yeah.
Let's
bias aside, they haven't done anything. I mean, so anything, their segments, I really enjoy. But other than that, it was really hard to find something I truly enjoyed.
Fair enough. And I'm kind of in the same boat with you on that. It was a solid C+ Raw. It was just an average kind of let's just kind of get along with it type show. Not a lot of story development in terms of, I think the biggest amount of story we got was probably AJ Styles and John Cena.
Right.
And we'll get to that. So let's just kind of break it down a little here. And I've got some notes jotted down in no real particular order. Kind of tried to do it chronologically, but like I said, it didn't really hold my attention too much. So my thoughts get a little scattered here and there. But the show starts off with, it's a new era, and it's the same old, 20-minute McMahon promo.
Right.
We right out the gate. You got Shane, you got Steph out there, and they're touting, they're trying to talk about the brand split, and they're, it's just the same thing. It's just them talking, monologuing. And it's one of those things where it's like it's come to the point where we're kind of, I don't know about you, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm kind of tired of it.
Well, it is the same old thing. Since Shane came out or came back onto the scene, it's kind of been the ordinary as of late for them both to kind of open up. I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing with Stephanie. She's actually one of the better heels in the business, and as annoying as she is, that's part of her character, is to be annoying. And so I don't know, them coming out together all the time, and then her playing this, out of nowhere, not really authority figure. Shane is sticking to his character, of course. I just wasn't a huge fan of the segment. It's pretty much the same.
Even the New Day. For me, and I'm a huge mark for the New Day. Even them coming out doing the dance off really did nothing for me.
Yeah.
It's just New Day being New Day at this point, and I'm not trying to harp on them because they have been pretty entertaining. They've been probably arguably the most entertaining act in the company. It's just it didn't add anything to it. They did a little dance off. I get their concerns about splitting up, during the brand split. It happened to the APA, that in turn launched JBL into the stratosphere. Farouk kind of fell off, but Bradshaw took the ball and ran with it. But valid concerns, it just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
And then the Vaudevillains coming in and interfering and that leading to a match. All right, developing the story. We'll keep the ball rolling. But seriously, the first 20 minutes I could have done without personally.
I do want to say though that it is inevitable. They are going to break up. The New Day probably. I think one of the main characters out of them, three of them, Big E, it will definitely have a solid singles career after this. He's definitely shown his charisma throughout. But yeah, nothing was really added to the segment. So it was, maybe it was because NBA was on.
Possible.
And they kind of just more so tried to fill time with this episode of Raw. But yeah, it is what it is. 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to spend 20 minutes talking about them. So
right.
Anyway, like I said, the Vaudevillains come out, interfere, create all types of commotion. Obviously, in the world of WWE, that means one thing: we're gonna have a match. So New Day versus Vaudevillains.
Stay long. Tag team match.
Now listen here, players. So, but again, they were kind of just going through the motions at this point. I don't think the Vaudevillains, even though they had did they? Yeah, they had a match for the tag team titles. I don't think they're a real threat to the belts right now. You know what I mean? But that whole match was really just leading to one thing, and that was the Club, Luke Gallows, and Anderson coming out and screwing stuff up. Interfering in the match and taking out Kofi on the outside, and taking out Xavier Woods and Kofi getting involved and causing the DQ finish, clearly signifying one thing. They played with the Usos. That's done. That feud's over. They're now here for the tag titles, and I think that's good. I think WWE to a certain extent has kind of wasted and squandered their potential a little bit with the AJ stuff going on.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with their New Japan stuff at all.
I'm not too familiar with them when they were in New Japan, but since them coming, I've checked a few items out and a few clips and kind of read up on them. I mean, Gallows when he was
Festus.
Yes, that's because I saw him. I was like, Festus is back on WWE television. But then you realize, man, he was put in some solid work and definitely changed up his whole career. And it worked out. And I think it mixes up the tag team division, in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Which is, the tag team division for a long time has, hand in hand with the Divas, now women's division, been kind of like the redheaded stepchild.
Right.
Where it's kind of been like, okay, you single guy, you guys aren't doing anything. We want to set up a feud, so how about we just make you tag for a little bit, and then later on you split. There hasn't really been a lot of character development or, a lot of teams in the hunt. But now you've got the Vaudevillains, you've got New Day, you've got the Club, you've got Golden Truth, you've got Febreze, you've got these teams now, and then down in NXT, you've got American Alpha, you've got, what are they called now? The Mechanics, the Revival. You got these teams, Endzone Cass. You got these teams coming up that are going to make some noise, and it'll be interesting to see kind of not just what the Club does against the New Day, but if they plan on the New Day holding on to the titles, they're approaching the record for longest reign, or they've only almost got a year in with the titles now. That'll be interesting to see, kind of how that plays out. But still, it's just typical tag team and WWE shenanigans to end a match with no clear winner, so nobody loses any heat.
Right.
Speaking of Febreze, Fandango and Tyler Breeze, which I prefer Febreze to what are they calling him? Breeze Angle or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just a bad name.
Yeah,
they have a match against the Usos and lose. Golden Truth was sitting there on commentary. Again, one of those throwaway type matches. The brawl on the outside is pretty good, man. Goldust, for being like 78 years old, he's got a ridiculous power slam still to this day.
Yeah, he's a pro, man. That guy knows how to wrestle. He knows how to sell. He knows how to do it all.
Yeah.
And so and it shows in his work. His work in the ring is just, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, for being 126, he's, I mean, you paint your face. I mean, you can be at whatever age you want.
Yeah, I mean, look at Finn Balor. Balor supposedly, they say that he's young, up and coming, but I think he's like 33, 34. Not saying that that's old, but, obviously perception being what it is for the WWE, they want to tout him younger, so you paint his face a little bit. Anyway, so that was, like I said, it was a throwaway match. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Another throwaway little segment was Big Show talking in the back with Apollo Crews. It was just, that's the first time we've seen Big Show on TV for what?
Yeah,
it's been a while,
right? And out of the blue,
was it WrestleMania? I think was the last time when he kind of lined up with Shaq a little bit. I think that was the last time we saw him.
that whole deal.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. I don't really care too much about what Big Show is doing
Fair
now, but yeah, it was kind of out of nowhere. Apollo Crews, you're a good guy. I like you. I don't like you enough to bring you on my bus and eat my food, but.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if they kind of use this as a way to just give Apollo Crews a little more credibility.
Oh, for sure.
He's on the Indies. Him under as Uhaa Nation.
Well, yeah,
he's a beast, and he's still he's still got it. It's not like he lost to coming in over to NXT, but I think like they brought him up too quickly. They didn't have any type of direction, and maybe this will give him something, or at the very least, it'll give him a payoff where he'll have a match down the road with Big Show, show off his strength, and maybe get put over. Who knows? Big Show kind of hinted at maybe tying up the boots for the last time type of deal when he talked about Attitude Era, New Era, whatever the case may be, Ruthless Aggression Era. He's seen it all. So, speaking of throwaway matches, throwaway segments, you and I have talked a lot about the Women's Revolution. What started off as Divas Revolution, now it's the Women's Championship, Women's Revolution. But WWE still can't seem to grasp the concept of actually allowing these women to wrestle. It was another throwaway match. Hell, I can't even remember who was in it.
It was Dana Brooke, and was it the Dana Brooke and Natalia match?
Yeah, that's the one.
With Charlotte on the side?
I couldn't remember who was the other competitor.
Yeah.
I remember Dana Brooke, and then Becky Lynch came out after the fact. But, I mean, that's the problem. You bring up these women, and that's cool. But if you don't give them any time to actually showcase, they're not going to connect with the fans.
It's just like, we're back at another 2-minute match for the Divas.
Yep.
And also a match that doesn't. I mean, what gives me the reason or the purpose to watch this match?
Yeah, I mean, besides it being Charlotte there and Natty just had a feud with her for the title, but from every indication, Natty's now had 2 consecutive pay-per-view matches against Charlotte. She's lost them both. She's not going to get another title shot. I guess more than anything was just leading up to that Becky Lynch reveal, and maybe that's going to be the next feud for Charlotte, or at the very least, because I think right afterwards they ended up booking Dana against Becky for SmackDown. So maybe it's leading to that. I don't know, but still, they need to find a better way to treat the women wrestlers as they do the male wrestlers, because. And maybe to that point, Stephanie putting down Charlotte later in the show, I mean, that's no different than what she would do when she would emasculate some of the male wrestlers.
Yeah, which that segment didn't really make a lot of sense either. But we'll get to that, I guess.
No, I mean, we could. I mean, we're there now. It was a quick little segment. We can talk about it now.
Well, the thing that I'm not a huge fan of is just that segment in general. How strange it was that a few weeks ago, Stephanie McMahon was slapping Ric Flair in the face, and now she's sitting here, kind of scolding in some way, shape, or form. And it's just like, am I supposed to forget what happened a couple weeks ago? It just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
But let's be honest here. We're not exactly WWE's targeted audience. That's what they expect you. They expect you to forget 2-3 weeks ago. I mean, look at Shane McMahon Undertaker at WrestleMania. That was supposed to be for the Control of Raw.
Overnight.
Next morning, the following episode of Raw, well, all right, Shane, let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I liked it.
I've been working on the
Vince.
Vince. You wait till later when I pull out the You're Fired. You know, we'll save that one for later.
Oh yeah,
but I mean that's what it is.
It's our first episode.
But that's what it's been. It's just been, you know, constant rewriting and just backtracking, whether on a night to night basis, it might be a segment to segment basis sometimes, you know. But you know, I didn't care for the segment either. I mean, it's just Steph emasculating the male wrestlers. It's Steph just putting down Charlotte. It's nothing new, you know. The McMahons are still, you know, HBIC, you know. So something else from the first hour. There was that big, for a while there, and I was actually late to the party, the hashtag Hatch reveal that WWE was tweeting about.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't get to see that live. I followed up on it later, but I think it was. I mean, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
honestly, there was rumors out there that it could be another Wyatt family member, you know, or it could be the video game, or it could be a few other things, and so I wasn't 100% sure, but it's kind of pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Goldberg coming out of there, and yeah.
For a second, I thought it was Batista, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
you know, I thought it was Batista, but it was kind of spoiled for me earlier in the day. I was on Reddit, and one of the commentators said posted an image from WWE Shop with the with the 2K17 video game. You know, said this is probably what the hashtag Hatch reveal is going to be. They spoiled it themselves, blah blah. And then fast forward later, it is exactly that. It's WWE 2K17. Not necessarily showing Goldberg as the cover athlete. It's just showing him as a pre-order bonus. What I loved though was at the end of the promo when he's sitting in the back of the car. You see the reflection of Suplex City, which I thought was a fantastic touch. Now, is that necessarily hinting that we're going to see Goldberg, Lesnar 2, you know, Electric Boogaloo up in where are they going this year? No, in Orlando. You know, for 33.
Right.
13 years after the travesty of that match back in
God.
the Garden.
I mean, the hype for that match was crazy, of course. Mm-hmm. But man, that was...
Well, like we were talking a little before...
lackluster.
Before recording. The Garden just completely turned on that match from before even the start of it. You know, at that point, everybody knew they were leaving. You know, Lesnar was trying to out for the NFL, and Goldberg's contract was up and he was done. So they just from the word go, that match had no chance.
Yeah.
You know, they could have put on a clinic, and I still believe that the New York fans would have just shat all over it. Like, it was just no bueno.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I don't know. You know, Goldberg looks like he's still in pretty good shape. You know. He aged a little bit, but he hasn't been in the ring since probably since that match. That was his last match, wasn't it? I don't remember him going to TNA or anything.
No.
So I mean,
he's a money guy anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He knows that if he goes anywhere, he's gonna fill seats wherever he goes. Mm-hmm. And I know he stepped away. He was done with wrestling. I know that he would get back in the ring for so his kids. I heard an interview where he would. You know, he'd be willing to entertain the idea of wrestling again, just so that way his kids can see him.
And maybe that's what this will lead to. I mean, part of the reason why Sting got on the WrestleMania card, rumor has it, is that Vince didn't really think Sting was a big deal until he saw the numbers that the Sting being part of the WWE 2K game brought it.
Oh, wow.
And Vince was like, maybe this thing, you know, we should give the kid a shot, you know. And that led to him going out there and wrestling with Triple H and, you know, wrestling with Rollins later on. So we'll see. Could very well lead to something. Maybe not. Knowing WWE booking, next week it'll be retconned and it really is Batista's shadow. And not you know?
Oh, so, Hornswoggle. It's dead.
Yeah.
You did not see Goldberg come out of that.
Speaking of Hornswoggle.
Swagger.
Speaking of Hornswoggle, and not to plug another podcast, but you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this gentleman from Texas, goes by the name of Steve Austin. You ever heard of him?
Man, sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's got a future. That guy, he's got a future. I don't know in what. He's got a future, but so he had him on his podcast a couple weeks ago, and if you never got a chance to hear it, Hornswoggle. I mean, I didn't know he was in WWE for almost a decade. He's been in WWE for that long. He's seen some stuff. He's been through some stuff, and I mean, it was just a great interview. And you can kind of get a backdoor look. He doesn't badmouth the company at all, but he gives a backdoor look as to how stuff goes down. It's pretty good. It's interesting listing. So, anywho, back to Raw. We had a couple promos for the Money in the Bank competitors. Little funny skits. I know you're starting to warm up on KO a little bit. I've been in love with him from his debut.
I know. Got that man crush.
Kevin Owens is bae, man. I mean,
his bae. I hate that word.
But so that, and I'm actually really excited for that match. Probably more so than even the Rollins Reigns match for the title. I think we're really they tout this new era. It's a new era, and it's pretty much been the same old stuff this entire time. It's a lot of talk, not a lot of action. With the brand split coming up, with the draft coming up, maybe something's gonna change. And I think if we're gonna see any type of change, it'll be at Money in the Bank. If they give it to Del Rio, if they give it to Jericho, it's business as usual. And I'm 100% in belief that they're not going to do that, go that route.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
They did go out of their way to say during the main event that Dean Ambrose is the odds-on favorite to win Money in the Bank. So I don't know if that's necessarily a red herring on their part or what. I think Kevin Owens is going to be the one to walk away with the briefcase. Isn't
there still one spot open?
I don't think so. Match? I thought that, but when they showed the graphic, the matchup graphic, it had the 6 guys, and that was it. It didn't have the one person in the middle, mystery guy, whatever.
Huh.
No.
Interesting. Okay, because I thought there were 7 slots open. Just maybe last SmackDown or maybe the SmackDown before there was 7, and they had filled 6. But
well, the competitors are, in case you're not aware, Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Antonio Cesaro. Oh, sorry, just Cesaro. Did I say Del Rio?
I don't think you did.
And Alberto Del Rio, and that's it. So it's 6 of them, and we'll see. Again, it could be retconned the way Goldberg is going to be next week, and the way Stephanie McMahon character has been. Anyway, so speaking of the main event, Kevin Owens took the pin. And as much as I love Kevin Owens, that was a great call, I think. Ambrose hit him with dirty deeds, pinned him. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the room, in the middle of the ring. And it's great because Kevin has been gaining a lot of steam lately. He's been winning a lot lately. He's been on a roll. And like I said, they alluded to Ambrose being odds-on favorite. It's a good way to get the heat back on Ambrose. Give him a little momentum and really throw that question mark in there. Like I said, I still think Kevin Owens is going to win. But it's a good move having Ambrose come out on top. It's a good move, next week having Sami Zayn come out on top. We've got 3 more weeks of build-up. It'll be interesting to see where they go. So, Ziggler Corbin, I'm kind of over Dolph Ziggler. I'm a huge Ziggler mark, but I'm kind of over him. So I mean, I don't know.
Next.
Fair. All right. Well, the big thing was obviously John Cena's return.
Yeah,
that was the big thing. I know you're more of a less than smarky IWC guy. How'd you feel about Cena coming back and his promo?
I thought it was John Cena-esque. I mean, honestly, I'm not the biggest John Cena fan, but I mean, he is the face that runs the place. But I mean, it's good to have him back. I mean, as much as people don't like him, he just adds that, that energy element to
the mainstream credibility.
Yeah, it's awesome. What he can bring. Now, all his promos are kind of the same, so there's that. Mm-hmm. But it's all. I mean, it benefits the company to have Cena.
Yeah,
Cena there. I mean, so that's the one positive I can pull from it.
Well, and I alluded to it earlier with the AJ storyline developing. AJ turns on Cena. The build up to that, I think, obviously you would want a long, slow burn for a storyline like that. But just the emotion that you could see come across AJ Styles' face when he first walked out to the ring. Cena's already in the middle of the ring, and the crowd is just going crazy. I mean, just going crazy. Cena's sitting there nodding his head. You got AJ Styles kind of like in shock at all this. Fantastic. Then you got the club come out, and AJ and Cena are kind of standing there looking. They're getting ready to brawl with the club. And then they do that whole, AJ takes his shirt off. Cena takes his shirt off. And they look at each other, they look away, and AJ pounces on Cena. Tried and true method. Nothing wrong with that. But, Cena was talking about the new era. And we go back to the same thing, which is somebody turning on Cena. And Cena never going heel. Never give up. And I'm just worried now that with AJ now officially, quote unquote, joining the club, if he's going to start heading down the card. That's my biggest concern out of that segment. Is he going to get buried like Rusev got buried? Like Wade Barrett and Nexus got buried? Is that what the future holds for AJ in the club?
I don't think so. The reason why is that AJ Styles, he's so over with the WWE Universe, and he's so over with the wrestling community. I don't think. You look at the other characters that you mentioned, Rusev and Wade Barrett and some others, is that they're not a fraction as established as AJ is. So he knows what he's doing. He turned on Cena. Just his facial expressions, his demeanor, you can see he is just he knows what he's doing in there, and so I enjoyed it. It was good. I will say this though, I don't know. Do you listen to Taz's podcast?
No.
To the Taz show, I think it is. He mentioned something today and or yesterday, I don't know what it was, but talking about the camera. I mean, going in and out, shaking so much, in and out, shaking so much. I mean, that was, I was scratching my head. That even kind of like hurt my eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
The thing is, he was saying, they're such good workers. They don't need the help of cameras to make the beatdown look good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so it was just, that was unnecessary. But.
Well, and it's funny that you bring that up because I was watching Raw last night. Had my brother over, his wife was over, and they don't watch wrestling. They're not, up on pay-per-views. They're not up on the weekly shows. So sitting here watching it for them, it was really refreshing to see a casual fan, not even a casual fan, just an outsider, a complete outsider. And I'm not talking about Hall and Nash, but just an outsider looking in for the first time and seeing their reaction to some of the stuff that goes on was pretty awesome. And I mean, she hit every checklist that WWE wants to hit with a female fan. Roman Reigns on the screen. Oh, well, who's that guy? Seth Rollins come out. But hold on. Okay, I see him. But who's this new guy that just walked out? And she's just... I can see why WWE pushes certain people. They want that mainstream credibility. I sat there and I told her, that's Roman Reigns. He's The Rock's cousin. Oh, yeah, I can see that. She was real into that. My brother being more of a technical guy, he was just completely put off and doesn't want to watch another episode because of those camera cuts. He's just like, nah, that's it. And I tried to explain to him, well, they do that to make it look like you're actually making contact with the fist and the kicks. And he's like, I'm not 12. I'm not 10. I know it's fake. And, that's when we broke down the whole, you're not the targeted demo. So they do that for the kids. You got to watch it more with the intent of just looking at it as a soap opera, as a story, than any type of real physical combat. Right. Anyway, it was just interesting to see just outsiders take a look at it. Real quick, a couple more things here. Titus O'Neil looks like he's getting a push.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
I was kind of surprised that he came out, especially with him being suspended for a little bit with whatever horseplay happened with Vince, and that was pretty awesome to see Vince kind of bury the hatchet, because it's him calling the shots. As much as Triple H runs the show, it's ultimately Vince's final
Vince
call.
Runs the show. That's the Vince show.
Exactly. So it was pretty awesome to see Titus come out. Maybe get one final push. I mean, he is He's young for in-ring work, but he is up there in age, physically. So that'd be cool to see. Rusev had a quick little match with Zack Ryder. Nothing too crazy. Your face says it all. I mean...
Yeah. Zack Ryder's back to his losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? With the brand split coming up, maybe on SmackDown, bring up Mojo Rawley, the Hype Brothers, do something in the tag team division at least. Yeah, he's a solid tag team wrestler, Zack Ryder is.
For sure.
Kurt Hawkins, the Major Brothers, when they were together, wasn't too bad. Outside of that, it was, like we said earlier, it was a pretty average show. I really hope that they kind of. I feel like I'm missing something.
The Roman Reigns and Rollins segment.
We got to talk about that, don't we?
It was the exact opposite of the AJ Styles and Cena option. It was. It drove me nuts. You have WWE's most charismatic heel in the business right now, coming back. Roman Reigns coming back from injury, and he comes out and they don't have him say a word. They play this back and forth game. It ticked me off. What was stopping? And just from a character standpoint, or just from an entertainment standpoint, what was stopping Roman Reigns from getting out of the ring, going up, and attacking Seth Rollins? Mm-hmm. He still hasn't even got payback for the pay-per-view. It boggles my mind. It doesn't make any sense. They want Roman Reigns to be this not a good guy, not a bad guy, but the guy. And Reigns is my dude. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
And they want to build him almost as an Austin-esque thing. And the only thing I can think about is, if that was Austin, he would have got out of the ring.
Someone's getting stunned.
And someone's getting stunned. Someone's getting whooped. So that whole segment. Ooh.
I mean, the big dog, he had his collar on, and those little mats that if the dog barks, shocks him. That's what it was. That's why he couldn't leave the ring.
Yeah.
In all honesty, what I liked the Seth Rollins thing. I actually did like that aspect of it in terms of him coming out and not talking. I mean, that was very Jericho-esque in that, what was it, in 2010, 2009, when Jericho came back and he didn't and he refused to speak until like WrestleMania, I think it was. Something like that. That was cool. I like that touch. There's a conspiracy theory flowing on Reddit. Can't remember who the username was that kind of floated it out there. But they said that WWE was probably purposely trying to keep Seth from talking just so that they can negate any flaws in Roman Reigns' speaking ability. Because Roman's not that great of a promo. He can sit there and say, his "I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy" thing. But a lot of his promo is just the same old regurgitated stuff, week in and week out. I'm the big dog, I'm the man, I got the title. Yeah. But you also don't have any character growth. Whereas Rollins last week, when he came in and the crowd was going crazy for him, and in 1 second he took all of that energy, all of that real good face heat, and on a dime became a heel. And I took all those great well wishes from my fans, I burned them all, and then all of a sudden, boos. That man's talented on the mic.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the things people were talking about, that maybe WWE did that with that intention in mind. That being said, knowing that I like that aspect of it, it went on about 5 minutes too long. I mean, it just did. It started to get boring chants from the crowd, which I'm not a big fan of chanting boring too much, but it did go on long.
Yeah, it did.
The walking to the back and coming back out again, what purpose does that? Right. Like you said, if they want Roman to be this badass, at that point he should have got out, speared the hell out of him, called it
something. And I mean, even with the AJ segment too, I don't think he needed to come back for that last time to beat up John Cena. And they literally were almost mirror image segments, just one capitalized on the beatdown and one didn't. I think to separate both segments it would have been wise to have Roman Reigns get out of the ring and start some heat on the stage.
See, I was worried too when AJ ran back the last time. I was like, oh, he's going to get AA'd. Cena's going to recover. AA, and that's going to be the end of the segment. It's like, so I was pleasantly surprised that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That being said, you're right. It did drag on a little bit. Both those segments did. And I like your comparison that they're both mirror images to a certain extent. It's like that path in the road. You know, one took the beat down, the other took the silent treatment.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just hoping that these next 3 weeks they build up a little more before Money in the Bank. Do you know when the draft is going to be? That's in July, right?
July 18th or 19th. I'm going to check right now.
So
it's the 18th episode of Raw is the draft.
18th episode of Raw. 18th episode of Raw.
I mean,
the June 18th.
July 18th, I believe, is the draft.
All right. So I guess we have Money in the Bank, and then that'll be the last pay-per-view before the draft. Correct? Because Money in the Bank's 3 weeks away, so that's putting us here in the middle of June. So
I believe so.
Interesting. So the draft will kind of be like a real big major reset, you know. And we can get into that at another time. I know, you know, we want to try and keep it short here for the debut episode of The Realest Guys, and you are listening to the two realest guys in the room. But you know, that'll be something we can get into
for sure. There's going to be a whole lot of talk for quote unquote brand extension, brand split. Yeah. There's going to be a whole lot of conversation for that. A whole lot of mock drafts people are going to do. Who's your top guys? I'm taking Cody with the number 1 pick. Bring back Rhodes. Hashtag. But no, yeah, I think SmackDown going live is going to be great. I hope WWE learned from mistakes that were made in the previous brand split, and you know, and turn it around. I think it definitely adds more intrigue to SmackDown. I want to watch it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm gonna be all over that, and you know, it's just the biggest thing that they need to do is if they're gonna go the route like they did the first time around with the 2 separate titles, they need to make sure that they convey to the viewers, the more casual viewers, because you and I, you know, we're smarky, so we kind of know that it's more, you know, more about the behind the scenes type stuff. But what they need to convey to the viewers is that even though SmackDown's got his champion and Raw got his champion, they're at the same level. They can't do what they did last time around,
right? Where
Raw quickly became the A show, and SmackDown became that B show, and it was like nobody cared anymore. You know, and I'm willing to wager that SmackDown for the first couple of weeks will probably do better. Obviously it depends on the roster, but from every rumored site so far, they're splitting up John Cena and Roman Reigns, and Cena's going to be the one going over to SmackDown. I'd be willing to wager that SmackDown will be better than Raw, ratings-wise. We'll see writing-wise. But ratings-wise, I think SmackDown in the interim will definitely be more watched. Especially because there's less stuff to watch on a Tuesday and on a Monday, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I guess that's pretty much a bow on the first episode.
On the first episode.
First of many, hopefully.
Yeah. Realest Guys podcast. This is a great, you know, opportunity for us, and there's so many podcasts out there. So for those that are listening to us, we appreciate it.
Yep,
you know,
definitely.
and we're going to be putting this on YouTube. We're going to be updating the Twitter. If you're already following us on Twitter, cool. We got like 20 something followers.
Yeah. If not, you can follow us at Realest Guys PC.
That's right. And then and again, also we will be on SoundCloud as well. And I mentioned YouTube already, and hopefully we can also we'll get this on iTunes and all that fun stuff. So either way, this is a great opportunity for us. This is just something that we love to do.
Listen, we're just two, to quote Enzo, slop jalak homies.
Slop jalak.
You know, deep in the heart of Texas, like we said, just having fun and just speaking about what we're passionate about. And you know, we appreciate the listen. You know, like I said, follow us over at Realest Guys PC for any updates. You can follow me personally at Rican Wolverine. You can follow Josh at
at Josh Crocker _. It's also my artist page too.
The artist page, you see this?
I do.
He's already using the podcast as a platform of action, so it's a superstar. You see that?
Oh my goodness.
Like I said, he is the Michaels to my Janetti. So anyway, guys, for Josh,